On the local front, President Yoon Suk Yeol is preparing to replace his key aides and the Prime Minister after they resigned following the Liberal main opposition's landslide victory in the general election last week. The new appointments are taking longer than thought as they were expected to be announced over the weekend. Our presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
President Yoon Suk Yeol is taking longer than expected to name a new Chief of Staff and Prime Minister, as his administration cautiously mulls its next steps after the general election last week handed the opposition a majority in Parliament. Key officials, including the Chiefs of Staff, Senior Secretaries and the Prime Minister, offered to resign after that disastrous outcome for the ruling party. Yoon's officials have hinted that even Monday could be too early to announce the new appointments, saying they need at least a minimum amount of time to screen the candidates. This is perhaps to avoid any potential backlash from the opposition or public criticism that could arise from rushing the process. Of course, there is no set deadline, but it's unlikely to take too long, as the Yoon administration has committed to self-reformation, with a major overhaul of senior figures likely to become the first step. In contrast with Yoon's previous appointments, the incoming Chief of Staff is likely to be a political heavyweight who can skillfully work with an opposition-held parliament and make an astute response to major domestic issues and crises. The rumoured candidates are Transport Minister Arirang, former opposition leader and National Unity Committee Chair Kim Han-gil, lawmaker Jang Jae-won and Interior Minister Lee Sang-min. More high-ranking staff, including senior secretaries for press, society and political affairs, are expected to be replaced. But the Chief of Staff for Policy and senior aides for Economy and Science may retain their positions for continuity. Appointing a new PM could take longer as it requires parliamentary approval. The likely candidates include Kim Han-gil once again, as well as former Unification Minister Kwon Yong-se and ruling party lawmaker Chu Ho-young, who were re-elected for their 5th and 6th terms respectively, to fully reform the management of state affairs as the president pledged last week. His office is considering a major cabinet reshuffle and a restructuring of the presidential office to make it more receptive to public opinion. This could involve resurrecting the position of a senior secretary for civil affairs or creating a new division to facilitate better engagement with Parliament and the public. To set the tone for the administration's way forward over the next 3 years, Yoon is planning to convey his position on the general election sometime this week, possibly through a televised address to the nation, a cabinet meeting speech, or a press conference. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.